take the tension off all the springs. This is not a duo servo type drum brake, but the wheel cylinder is going to be basically in the middle in a duo servo, because those shoes, they expand and they move. These ones just stay fixed. That's pretty good. Now, has the chaining springs for the backing plate. Pull it out like that. Pull it out like that. And you still have to release the tension. Which you do. Keep that thing. This main spring's your problem. It's very, very difficult to get off because, well, it's locked on there in a strange fashion in this corner. When you get it off, I'll show you how it is. But it gets locked on, and that you just can't lift it off with a brake tool. Basically, everything comes off as assembly, and then when you have the whole brake assembly off on the ground, you can disassemble it. It's strange. Look, it goes together one way, comes back the other way. Right, here we go. We got some of the tension off. Still have tension on my adjuster. Bottom one off. Self-adjuster is still keeping tension on that large spring. So you bottom it all the way out. You can deal with this thing. Pain in the ass, but it's doable. Still not coming apart. Alright, almost there, hold on. Put that on like that. Alright, one piece off. Get that out of the way. Adjust your lever on. Actually, on this side, I don't think I got lucky, it'll come off. It's not going much. That's just holding it all together. I'm making progress. Ideally, if I can get this adjuster out, again, it's going to be more difficult than the other side. There we go. Okay. Voila, finally. It's a fight, these ones. You see that spring, you can't really get to it, you have to fight it all off. And once you have it apart, look at that. Easy. And your lever arm, you're going to be using this, you know, don't forget where all your springs go. But the lever arm is hooks to the parking brake cable, so with a pin and a clip. So that's the part you have to save, don't throw it away. You could leave this cable on too, which I might this time around. It's kind of a fight to put that thing back on. Just remember what side the lever arm goes. Cool. Next step, clean all this, get that pen out, and clean up all our parts. This little horseshoe clip is a bit of a challenge to remove. I was having problems last time. I believe that sometimes it can be an E-clip to replace this, but I don't have an E-clip. So what I'm doing, I'm using a little pry bar on the backing plate of the brake shoe. Pry up it in this direction. And look at that. Pops right off easy. There's a little clip. And then it's basically just a little rivet and a spring washer. That's how you get that off. And brake shoes. Put it in the backing plate. The other, same size on this model. This is the back shoe. This is the front shoe. You notice the front shoe because it has a roll pin for a self-adjuster, little lever, locks on like that. Rear one does not. So now we're going to put this lever thing on. First you got to grease everything up and do all that jazzy stuff, and it'll be done. Grease box. You could also see how it's worn over here in the backing plate. You could take a little grinder and smooth that out, but I'm not going to that extent today. Also put some small grease, small amount, on the wheel cylinders where it contacts between metal and metal. And the bottom, where there's still pegs on the shoes ride. A little bit more over here. And you can see the witness marks where the parking brake shoe rubs. Both sides. You can put a little grease over there too. Grease everything. What we got? Pin goes first. Say they paint these backing plates on these, the pin always gets stuck. So it's more of a challenge from the other side. You got to give it a little tap. Locks on there nice. Spring washer. Actually, did I just screw up? I think I did. That has to go on the outside. My bad. Goes on the outside like that. Screwed up. It happens. Lock the pin back out. Yes, so this goes first. Then spring washer. Screwed up. Just gonna tape these shoes too. I might do it on the other side before I start messing with it. Should go on nicely now. Rotate it around and reinstall this little clip, which is kind of tricky, but it does go on. Use a combination of everything. Put the little clip back on. Oh, there he goes. It always gets a little loose, so I go back and I crimp it this way. just to make sure it doesn't not going to fly off on me. Put a little bit of tension on it, it'll be alright. Just a little more. Whatever it's made out of is very flexible. I like that. It's not going to come off. So now, what else we have? We have to swing that back up, put some of these springs on and start fighting this thing and putting it back together. Being that on the other side, I gooped the heck out of the brake shoes with grease, my greasy gloves. I decided, why didn't I put masking tape on the friction surface? So that's what I did. Put about 2 strips of, what is that, about 1 inch, 1.5 inch, something like that, tape. And yeah, it'll save you a lot of cleanup time. I'm going to do the other one now before I goop it up worse. And then when you're done, peel it off. Surfaces are clean, less cleanup. It's good little. Alright. I'm going to put more tape on the other side so we don't make a mess. Good enough, not perfect. This spring goes in from the back. Click. Whoops. Fell off. Always falls off. There we go. Got the other one. Like so. Put more grease over here. I'll take this and less grease. What else we got going? That's going to go on last. Adjuster goes this way with a little tab in the back. Right. See, your gloves are greasy. And now with springs always fall out. Back off, back on. Now you can get one of these hold down springs on, and then you can screw with, probably leaving this side off, so you can squeeze that adjuster and then do the other side. We gotta grease that, so we're gonna close for now. Got a little hole in the back. Oh no, falling apart again. Common deal is around here. The other spring fell off again on that side. It's gonna give us problems. Problem is everything wants to come apart. You have to make it stay together. Have your little brake spring tool. Basically line it up any way you want, north, south, east, or west, and try to put that on the same way and give it a quarter turn while holding it from the back. Pretty close. Just turn it in the middle. You can do it too if you press the spring fully. There you go, I got one locked on. Probably a good time to throw this thing in here now. like so. More grease. Grease is good. Now the length of the tang goes to the back. This side goes over a couple different pieces. Still on the bottom. I have another hold down spring. Line it up. So you really have to be an octopus when you do this. I don't know how the old timers did this. All the old cars back in the day, front and rear. Perfect. Now we can send out or adjust it somewhat. I anticipated it being more of a challenge, but it wasn't. Alright. This goes on last. The spring goes on that orientation. I think so. I don't quite remember. This spring makes like a lot of contact over here, so I always throw a little grease on it on the inside, just so it stays quiet. Has a weird spring end. Isn't really typical of anything else, but it works. Goes on. Now you have to stretch the spring, so this little hooky do is all the way in that little pocket over there. Another thing with these brake shoes, you have this big, this whole brake setup. You have this big ridge. Make sure that the brake shoe is not stuck in there in the backing plate. It will want to go in that hole. It'll kind of screw you all whacked up. And make sure everything's snugged up so you have less distance. One catches that spring. I'm looking for my vice grips. Find them. Whoops. Get to work. Realize when you start pulling on this, the wheel cylinder goes this way too. So you kind of have to support both sides. Make a dramatic noise. And we got the little bastard on. Last thing is our little lever for the self-adjuster. More grease. That's right. Put some more grease on it. Now what I do, I'm not even really using a tool for this. I hook the spring down over here. First of all, I'll go like this. I've seen some of these trucks too, the springs going this way too, but I don't find that it puts a lot of tension on a self-adjuster. This could be wrong, it could be right. I am not sure. I haven't been able to dig up a diagram. So that's going to fit in like so. That's going to fit. The deal is, I have to get this spring through that hole down there. Need some support. This one is hooked in over here. There we get that point. So now we're in control of the whole lever. With that one attachment point on the spring. Pretty much just pick it up. Just on that little tab. On. Now you leave your tape on. You don't want to stop. Or you can. Take all that we're saved. All that dirt would have been on the brake, new brake shoes, which isn't good for them, but we avoided that. Now we have to figure out how we're going to adjust this thing, how much adjustment it needs. And, it'll be good. Make sure your little, your springs are seated on them so they're not going to jump off. And yeah, it looks good.